Hey, hello there guys, Proxens here, and welcome back to another video on the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at a recently released Yokai Watch 4 trailer, and this is a trailer from one of the events that Level 5 was recently at. The trailer is a minute and 54 seconds long. And what we're going to do is we'll do a quick run through of it where I'm just like reacting to stuff, and then after that we'll go through it and do like an in-depth analysis, sort of how we usually do stuff with the Yokai Watch 4 videos. So without further ado, let's watch the trailer. And I'm gonna look a little bit over this way since that's where I have the trailer up, but I'll try to look forward as much as I can. So let me make sure that audio is good there, and here we go. Ooh, level 5. Let me turn it up a little bit. Ooh, a door is opening up to Springdale. Jibanian is hopping out of there. Nate Whisper. Oh, that's fun. That's fun. Oh, that's a really cool way to like set up the logo. Maybe let me turn down the audio a little bit so I don't get copyrighted by something in here. Ooh, a magical doggo. It looks like it's leading you to where you have to go, so that's intriguing. Ooh, that's the really cool art in the thumbnail. Okay. Oh! Oh, that's fascinating. The way the battle is working there, that's really cool. Again, we'll do the in-depth analysis in a second. What is that thing that's just running away? So those are the three worlds. Keita, I said Keita. Keita, Natsume, and Shin. Keita, Natsume, and Shin. Yeah. Ooh, this is... Oh, there's a lot of stuff to see there. We'll have to freeze frame on that in a second. Definitely gonna have to freeze frame on that in just a second here. Okay, everybody. We've gone through that. We've seen what's up. Now, let me go back and we're going to do a sort of frame by frame thingy and look at what's going on here. So, I think, dang it, I have to actually, can I do frame by frame with this? I don't think I can. I'll just move the cursor and see what we've got. Maybe slow it down to 0.25 and then pause it whenever you see something. So, the first thing you're greeted to, of course, is... well, in this trailer, is the door opening up, and it's sort of showing you how the worlds are connected to one another. So I'm guessing the whole concept of stuff in this game is that everything is connected by these doors. Essentially, you have your different realms, and you go through one door and get to a different area through that door. And I'm not exactly sure how this will be set up, because it might end up being sort of like how Yokai Watch 3 has the tubes that you can take to different countries. So maybe it'll be a similar concept where you're going to have the door at some specific area, and you just go up to it, and then you can travel to that next location. Speaking of locations, the three locations that are currently released, or rather currently known, are Shin, Natsume, and Keita. So it's not in that order because there's different time frames here. So the first one is Shin, which is 60 years in the past, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhere around that. It's in the past, essentially. That's all that matters. The next one is Keita, which is the present. And then we have Natsume, which is the future, since Natsume is Keita's daughter. So, yeah. That's how that works there. And as you can see here, you've got Keita hopping out of the door, and he's like, "Whoa, what's this? This door just took me to some magical place." And then you've got Natsume over here with Toma. I think that's his name. I'm gonna double check on that before I mess it up in the future, but I believe that is Toma. Yes, that is Toma. I know my character names. So we've got Toma and Natsume just observing the fact that Keita just walked through the door. And if we actually go back a little bit and look at them, you can see their watches, and it's quite intriguing because I can't really tell what type of watches they have. I'm guessing those are going to be the new watches available in Yokai Watch 4, because they do appear to be sort of similar in style. With Toma's, his is a bit more complex from the looks of it, but it might just be the color scheme that throws it off a little bit. So when you move on from there, you've got Nate, and then out of the blue, it's like, woo! Nate joins the battle or something along the lines of that, essentially. And that's a pretty interesting nod to how Smash sort of introductions work, where they say someone joins the battle, or someone hops into the fight, or something along the lines of that. So I'm guessing that's what they were going for here, and there might be some deeper hints within the way they introduced Nate. Maybe we'll get Jibanyan or Jibanyan and Nate in Smash. Who knows? But that's not what we're talking about. And let's see, it's the Ogre Watch and the Elder Watch. Okay, so Natsume has the Elder Watch and Toma has the Ogre Watch. Thank you, chat. Do appreciate it. So moving on from here, we hop into a different scene after the whole Nate joins the battle scene, and the first thing we actually see here is the logo getting built up. And out of all of the logos that we've seen for Yokai Watch stuff, I have to say the Yokai Watch 4 logo is really cool, because it's more fun than the rest, you know. It's got that aesthetic. It's just fun. It's really cool and all that stuff. So I personally really like this logo. And then we've got a nice transition shot here with Nate Whisper and Jibanyan showing us Nate's house with a dimmy behind the car, if you guys noticed that. There's just, let me go back a little bit. You can see a little dimmy back there just hiding. Not really doing much, just like standing around. And then into the room we go, and it does say the name of the song, and the artist I do believe is Hardbirds. You also see Dimmy here at a different perspective. So let me actually go back before I continue going forward through here. So as you can see, the dialogue and stuff is pretty similar to how it was in the previous games, where you have the little text box show up on the bottom of the screen. And as you can see here, Nate's character has a little bit of a redesign, since he looks more HD, and I guess that's part of the fact that this whole game has been sort of redone to be super HD and work on the Switch. And honestly, it is really amazing to see that, because Level 5 is putting in a ton of work to make this game as awesome looking and as awesome as possible. And even though there are a few delays here and there, in the end, Level 5 puts a lot of dedication into their games, so don't worry, it'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. And after we actually see that scene, we go into another scene here where we can see Nate just running on the main street, and you do get to see some of the controls here. And we have seen a few controls previously, but if we look more in depth here, we can see some more details on stuff. So there's not too much detail, because this is a pretty early gameplay screenshot here, but as you can see, if you press ZL, you get to access the Yokai Watch, I assume, since it's got the targeting icon and then some sort of wisp in there. So I guess if you press the ZL button, you can do the looking around with the Yokai Watch to see if there's a yokai around, and then you get to see some stuff on the map. And the interesting thing is that you've actually got two types of characters on the map. You've got the white circles and the blue circles. So I'm guessing with the white circles, they're just wandering characters, and with the blue circles, they're probably going to be characters you can actually interact with. So moving on from there, we see Nate on a bike, and we actually see an instance where we've got a no way. So I'm guessing in the very early game, you'll be blocked from going certain areas, and the no way is there to sort of tell you, like, hey, you want to go over there, but you're not going over there. You got it? You're not. You're not. But it's pretty cool to see this, though, like, the way they're implementing it. If that's actually the case where the no way is telling you, like, nah, you can't go over there, then that's pretty cool. And the fact that he's got the bike this early on in the game is really cool as well, because this is not that much of the map unlocked, so it's interesting to see the fact that he has the bike unlocked. For example, if we look at Yokai Watch 3, Nate gets the bike roughly 2 or so chapters into the game, but if you observe what we've got here, it does appear to be pretty early on in the game, especially since the area that you can actually wander around isn't that large. So from that scene, we move on to the school, and then we've got another transition shot here, and this transition shot is of a blue doggo, a mystical blue doggo. So this blue doggo does appear to be introduced pretty early on as well, and he just shows up at the door. Pretty cute doggo, I would say, you know, of course, because it's a doggo, so of course it's cute. But in regards to what this doggo does, there's a little bit we have to discuss. So I looked at a translation for this, and apparently the doggo allows you to sort of have a guide to different markers, and I feel like that's sort of how you had the arrows in Yokai Watch 3, 2, and 1, but in this case it's more like in depth. It's sort of like, hey, you know where you have to go, but if you want a little bit more help, this can help you out. And that's going to be really awesome for me because I don't know Japanese that well, so when I'm playing through this game, it's going to be nice to have this doggo to help me out to go from whatever area I'm in to whatever area I need to go to, even though I do have the markers. And blanket term here, when I'm saying I just mean in general. But whenever somebody has like a marker, you can see it, but if you don't really understand where you're going, it'll be nice to have this doggo to lead you to the exact area, especially if the marker is in a bit more of an obscure area. Anyways, moving on from there, we go into the best scene in this entire trailer, and it is the animated scene where you see Nate, Komajiro, Koma-san, Jibanyan, and Whisper, and out of the door pops a bunch of different yokai. We've got Slimamander, we've got Michi, Shadow Side, we've got Jibanyan, Shadow Side, Koma-san, Shadow Side, Hungram's Shadow Side, Whisper's Shadow Side, air quotes, form, and then we've got Komajiro's Shadow Side form, and then we've got this dog-esque thing. Not too sure what it is. The four-eyed dog that's right over there. I'm not too sure who that is exactly, but it's interesting from the looks of it. You also see a tail, and that is the tail for QB, just above the head of that weird doggo thing. Yeah, so this is the coolest shot out of the entire trailer because it just shows a bunch of awesome stuff coming out of a door, and it just looks fun. And then after that, you see the door show up, and it actually transitions you into another scene here, and this is a battle. And there's a lot of stuff to actually analyze in this battle here, because it works kind of similar to the Ni no Kuni battles. So as you can see, let me pause this real quick, and let me move just a tad. So you can see right above me, there are different icons for the characters and the yokai. So you've got the main character up here, and then you've got 3 different yokai. We've got Jibanyan, Hydabat, and Noko. So next to each yokai, we've got HP, and then we've got YP, which is Y points. And each one of these things have a different purpose in the fight. Obviously, your HP is your health points, and those will deplete if you get damaged. And your YP are things you can use for special attacks and stuff like that. So as you notice there, when Nate moves like that, he's actually using an action that allows him to gain some YP since he absorbs it from the Hungramps. And if we actually look at how he does this next move, he's able to use his Yokai Watch to directly do damage to the yokai. So it's showing you how the main character is able to sort of interact with the fight beyond what he was able to do previously. Because in the previous games, Nate, Inaho, and all the other characters, they didn't do much other than pinning stuff, uninspiriting, ultimates, and items. But now the character is actually able to interact with the fight through the Yokai Watch's powers. And as you can see, the character also gets hit by attacks as well. So it's another thing to be careful with, because, you know, now you have another set of HP to sort of worry about. And let me go back to that real quick, because we're not done discussing this. But yeah, you have another character to worry about in terms of HP. And there does appear to be a sort of stamina bar in the battle itself. If you look right above the character now, when he hops off to the side, a little stamina bar appears right above his head. So it's indicating that in the battle you have stamina as well, and that'll deplete as time goes by. So moving on into the next scene, this is the scene with Slimeamander in his redesigned Shadow Side form, which in my opinion kind of looks crazy, but it's a good kind of crazy, because it's like how you'd expect the Slimeamander to look, sort of like terrifying and awesome and all that stuff. So as you can see, similar to what we saw in the previous fight, Nate is interacting in this battle as well by directly targeting the boss yokai, and there are a few things that are interesting here, because sort of how you had stuff in Yokai Watch 3, well, rather, in all the other Yokai Watch games, you have status effects, and they show up right to the right of your yokai. As you can see, what I'm pointing at right now is some sort of status effect on a yokai, and then we've got another status effect here. Some of them are good, some of them are bad. And then if we observe how Nate is using the Yokai Watch, he's having some form of influence on the fight, since he's able to sort of like take out Slimeamander's eye, and then some weird creature shows up to grab it. I'm not too sure how this is going to work. Maybe it's some sort of battle feature with the bosses where they'll have something that you can sort of pop out and do extra damage to them that way. Can't really discuss too much about it right now since I'm not too sure what it is, but maybe when we get more screenshots or more gameplay in the future, I'll be able to talk about that more. And if you look here, you can actually swap to your yokai as well. So you don't have to play just as Nate. You can actually play as Hydabat, Noko, and Jabandi, and you just swap through them with your up and down on your controller like this. You just do that, and you move through there in order to change which character you're using. So that's pretty cool, because it's showing you like sort of like Busters, I guess I would compare this to, since in Busters you're able to swap through your entire team, and in this case you're able to do that as well, but the battle system is a little bit more like Ni no Kuni in how you're able to move around and all of that stuff, as well as the controls. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting thing to consider. And once we finish up that scene, we get to see this big scene with the 3 different doors and the 3 different areas you get to explore with Keita, Natsume, and Shin, past, present, future. Air quotes. Because it's not exactly the same story, past, present, future. I guess the present and future is in the same story type area, but the past seems separate from that, since Shin doesn't sort of tie in with everybody else. At least I don't think so. That might change when we actually see the game. Like, there might be something that connects him to everybody else, but I'm not too sure about what that is quite yet. We'll have to wait and see. And honestly, there's a lot of stuff that we'll have to wait and see when this game comes out, because this game is going to be big, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm excited. I am excited. So before we actually move on, let me pause right here, and I am going to turn on my mouse so you guys can see what I'm pointing at. Oh, hold up. There we go. Okay, so let's start in the top left. As you can see here, oh, it's not working. Where's my mouse? Okay, my mouse is, oh, there we go. There we go. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So in the top left here, we can actually see Nate with Bear and Eddie. And he does appear to be getting his bike at this point in the game. So definitely pretty early on in the game if he's right in the park. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, it is relatively early to see Nate riding around his bike at the time, so it's cool that you're getting the bike early in the game since it allows you to travel a lot faster, and it's pretty cool. And then if we move to the right, we can see Toma with another character here. Not too sure who that is, but that's probably going to be an early game thing as well. And something to keep in mind, most of this stuff here is early game from the looks of it. So yeah, moving on from that screenshot there, we've got the next one with Nate, the doggo, Jabanian, and Whisper just standing around in an area that appears to be Mount Wildwood, I would say. From the aesthetic, it does appear to be there, but it's possible it could be somewhere else. However, my best guess is going to be Mount Wildwood. And then if we move down from there, we've got another screenshot, and we see Komajiro and Koma-san here. And this does appear to be early game as well, since if you look at the little mini-map, it does have it confined to the area we saw in the earlier gameplay. Then over here, we've got a screenshot that we already saw in gameplay. And over here to the right of that, we've got a few different yokai. So there's a Noe, and then there's a yokai next to him that I don't really recognize. But obviously, since this is Nate's side of the game, it is going to be a OG yokai. And that's something that I should mention. From what I've noticed, most of the yokai on Nate's storyline are OG yokai. And a bunch of the newer ones are on the other storylines. So we'll have to see if they do actually keep all of the yokai introduced in Yokai Watch 3. For example, the American yokai, or if those are going to be like a post-game exclusive or something like that, since I'm not too sure how they'll be able to incorporate it into an early game type thing. And then over there to the side of that, we have Natsume, and we have another screenshot here where it is Nate, Whisper, Jabanian, and the doggo standing in front of one of those teleportation doors. And this definitely is Mount Wildwood, since this is the tree that you have the Crankakai at. So most of this is indicating that in the early game, you're definitely going to see a lot of stuff, and it's definitely going to show you how the game works. And over here, we've got two more screenshots. One where Nate, the doggo, and Jabanian are standing around at the shrine at Mount Wildwood, and one where Nate, the doggo, and his yokai watch are just dealing with a hungramps. So there's going to be a lot in this game. There's going to be a lot of awesome stuff. And currently there isn't an official release date other than spring. So it could come out at any time, honestly. And we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see what happens, because it could come out in a month. It could come out in 7. Probably not 7. And I think it is spring, but it might be winter as of a recent delay. Let me check real quick, because I do have a translator, so I can quickly translate to see when it is currently slated for. So it says out of this that it is scheduled to be released in spring. So it's still spring 2019. So that's something to look forward to, because spring 2019 is going to end. Well, to give you the range of spring 2019 in Japan, it is Thursday, March 21st to Saturday, June 22nd. So my guess is a late May, early June release day. Late May, early June release day, based on what they say here. It really depends on when they release Aries, but that's my guess. If I'm right, awesome. If I'm not, it's okay. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in to this live stream. I do hope you enjoyed this reaction, discussion, analysis style where when we have a trailer, I'll actually do a live stream and look through it, since it's a bit easier for me and I feel like it's a bit more interactive with the chat. So thank you all so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you aren't already. Also, check out the Discord, which is linked down below. It's a wonderful place to go and talk to other people about Yokai Watch and other stuff that's related to it. So yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. And well, wait, I did my outro wrong. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next time. Bye everybody.